What? What?
America is insolvent, and the people who will feel it first are the ones who voted for this. And in case you don't know what insolvent means, baby, I'll put it here on the screen for you. It means bankrupt, unable to pay its debt. And that's right, by America's own treasury numbers, we in fact are insolvent. $47 trillion in liabilities, $6 trillion in assets. And I want to talk about exactly who that's going to affect first, because the answer just might shock you. Now, according to Pew Research, 67% of the people that voted for Trump do not have a college degree. According to Brookings Institution, 66% of white working class Americans backed Trump in 2024. And the Economics Innovation Group, baby, they found that the more economically stressed a county was, the more it swung Trump's way.
The U.S. Treasury just announced that the U.S. is insolvent. We are broke. They're going to use very specific terms. They're going to say our assets don't match our obligations, right? And that literally means the money we make as a country, assets, don't meet our bills, our obligations. We can't pay our bills. And they've actually said it. And this is literally because the United States refuses to tax the rich an appropriate amount, and we're spending too much on our military. Had we reduced our military spending and taxed the rich, we wouldn't be in this situation. And people are going to say, we are taxing the rich. Not enough. Not enough. The rich people are too rich in this country. There were patriotic millionaires that came out and said, a bunch of them came out and said, you need to tax us more.
He bankrupted the country in 14 months. The U.S. Treasury has now confirmed that the United States is insolvent. So in 14 months, he took a profitable country that was standing on its own 2 feet and made it so dependent on everybody else, but yet nobody's coming to his aid. So the $1 billion a day to fight a war.
Well, it's official. The United States is bankrupt. It's insolvent. And this is not according to some wild-eyed left-wing liberal think tank. This is from the Department of the Treasury. The United States has assets of about $6 trillion. It has liabilities of almost $46 trillion. The debt is expected to reach $40 trillion by the end of this year. Just paying the interest on that debt will eat up 16% of federal spending. In 10 years, that number is expected to grow to 26%. That's more than Medicare, that's more than Social Security, that's more than the Pentagon. One of President Donald J. Ponzi's campaign promises was to do something about the debt, to begin paying down the debt. That was the whole point of Doge, to eliminate government fraud, waste, and abuse, so that he could save enough money to start paying down the debt.
Breaking news from March 23rd. Recently, the U.S. Treasury reported something that the media absolutely went full crickets mode on. No comment whatsoever, except for Fortune magazine, that the U.S. Treasury is telling us the U.S. government is insolvent. In their report, the U.S. Treasury indicated that we have about $6 trillion in assets and about $48 trillion in debt. Fortune magazine was also kind enough to let us know that the U.S. debt has gone up $2 trillion in the first year of Trump's return to office. This is the guy that ran on the idea that he was going to reduce the debt. Donald Trump has taken $10 billion for his peace board. He's spending $1 billion a day bombing Iran in a war that no one wants. But this has pretty much been the playbook for Republicans in the White House since Reagan. They cut taxes dramatically on the super rich. Then they deregulate the hell out of everything. They tell bankers and corporate leaders, just do whatever the fuck you want. And ultimately, we end up having a crash in the housing market or Wall Street, which destroys the global economy. The Treasury goes completely broke. And then we get to the part where we're told as working Americans that we have to tighten our belts, that we may have to give up some Social Security benefits, that we may have to give up health care entirely, that any kind of food support, any kind of federal money toward education, any kind of federal money toward our communities, FEMA, all kinds of programs are suddenly going to have to go away because we've been selfish. We've spent too much money. These are tough choices, but we're going to have to make them because nobody else is going to cut the federal debt except us working.
So let me see if I got this right. After reviewing consolidated financial reports from 2025 last week, the U.S. Treasury Department has concluded that the United States of America is now insolvent. And this is making America great.
So ladies and gentlemen, I'm hoping that you're all doing well today and welcome to the channel. Today's topic is quite interesting because at the back of my mind, I'm asking myself, why does it always have to be this way? Because most people, when they are vying for the government seats, or rather when they want a leadership seat, I don't even call it leadership these days. Those are like politicians. They promise, and they never do what they promise. This is not a new case with the United States of America, and I'm talking about the President of the United States of America. So apparently, right now, the United States of America is being declared insolvent. Yeah. So when I talk about insolvent, I mean, like, this is a country that is unable to pay its debts. And we have a lot of people who are running and chasing their American dreams. So basically, it's been one thing after the other. Because even if you check the status of employment right now, people are not earning. People like you go to work, you are in a household maybe of 2, 3, 5. So basically, 4 people or even 3 people will be working in a household, but still inflation is very high. So right now, when this country has been declared insolvent, it means they're going to be shortage in terms of everything. The inflation is going to go high, but then again, what about the services? So I'm talking about services in terms of, healthcare, education, and all that. All that is going to go down for sure. And apparently, the people who are shocked and they can't believe it, these are people who voted for Donald Trump, because in his speech, or rather in his manifestos, he said that if he gets elected, that is something that is gonna do away with. Is gonna do away with the debt, the borrowing and all that. And right now, statistics shows that he has borrowed even more. So this is a question that everyone is getting shocked right now, because there's a time that the natives also came forward and said that if the rich people, the wealthy people, they need to be taxed more. Yeah. So sometimes you get that when people are working, basically, when you're going to work and you're paying your taxes, you need to see like a government that is running well. You need to see a country that is well stated in terms of, funds and all that. But what is going to happen now with the United States of America people? And I'm shocked because right now everyone is behaving like they did not expect this. You remember when Kamala Harris was giving her speech during, elections and all that? This is something that he mentioned, and he said people were going to put themselves into the gutter and they will not know how to get out, right now. Because you see now, in other cases, like we've seen, the most money that is being spent, especially with the military, even right now, as Trump is, trying to involve himself in the Iran and Israel and all that, the war, that one is costing Americans, because you are going to use resources. And if you checked my previous video, I had spoken about why the United Kingdom is withdrawing its diplomatic engagement with the United States of America, because they do not want to be engaged into that war. Starting a war and rather fighting a country, it requires money that should be put aside for other purposes like education, healthcare, things that really matter, infrastructure and all that. And when you've not even finished your term and already your country is being declared insolvent, it means a lot. It means really, really a lot. So this one is going to affect the people in another way. So that means the taxes are going to go higher than they are right now, because they can't go lower actually. And inflation is also going to go higher than it is. So that means you have to work you have to work extra, maybe hours, something like that, and all that. But how is this going to look like? Maybe in the next few months and all that. So ladies and gentlemen, if you're new here, my name is Yvonne. And if you're a returning subscribers, thank you so much for always passing by. I really appreciate. Please subscribe. And you're welcome to being part of my online family. If you live in America, and you could put your comments down below. Let us know, what do you think is going to happen now that the United States of America, the Treasury, is declaring that it's in debt. actually bankrupt. Until next time.